Okay. Where did I leave off?
Snow White caused a shitstorm of controversy. This Snow White remake tells the story of Snow White as she strives to take back her kingdom from the evil queen. Yeah, that sounds like Disney Snow White to me. The film's writing and story, for that matter, are horrendous. This will be a big fucking moneymaker. No, this is a big fucking bomb.
Oh yeah. I don't think this movie knows what it is.
Perhaps a fatal flaw with this movie is that it makes a lot of changes in a way that makes it feel like the original was wrong or something. The original was just a simple story of inner beauty versus outer beauty, as Snow White befriends the dwarves with her kind and heartworking nature, while the queen's cruelty and jealousy of Snow White lead her to wanting her murdered. I just find it ironic that the queen went so far to make herself old and ugly just to trick Snow White into poisoning her. This remake says screw that. Snow White is now about her rising up for the kingdom against the queen with magical beings and bandits to become the leader she knows she can be.
Too bad it doesn't have good writing to back that up. Let's start with the quote-unquote leader of the film, Snow White.
Unlike the original Snow White, who was charming, kind, sweet, a little naive and hardworking, this Snow White is an ignorant, passive wannabe leader. Once in a while, Zegler will give that sweet and charming character trait, but she's actually more naive and a lot dumber than the original. People like Zegler and Gadot talked a lot about how this Snow White isn't going to be saved by the prince and is instead becoming the leader she knows she can be. Respectfully, this doesn't work on characters like Snow White, because that is not who she is in the original. If the intention was for her to be more active, then okay, but she honestly does jack shit in this movie. But I'll tell you all she does. She lets Jonathan go and gives him bread. She does not clean the house before the magical beings get home and goes straight to bed, unlike the original. Distracts some guards, tells some guards to remember who they were.
That's it.
She doesn't do anything for the people that makes her a leader. It feels like the movie is telling us who she is rather than actually showing it. Because of that, it makes her stand against the queen in the end unworthy. She's also way too positive on things. Through the first act, after her father disappears, the queen takes all the jewels for herself, who turn the people into knights and even cut Snow White's hair and make her a servant. She still hasn't figured out that her evil queen of a stepmother is an evil queen.
I'm gonna have to ask you to put those back.
My friends are hungry. I'm hungry.
Maybe I can speak with the queen.
You really think the people upstairs want to share with people like us?
A few moments later.
Maybe no one else has even told her. I'm sure if the queen was aware of how desperate things have gotten, she would be happy to share.
She says this after the narrator told us that she's f***ing evil.
She was evil.
Even when the huntsman is ordered to game end her, she just spurts out,
Why?
"Oh, I don't know. Maybe because your stepmother is the fucking evil queen?" She then starts thinking her father might still be alive, after the huntsman told her the truth wasn't told.
What if he's still alive? I have to find him.
Why would she think her father would still be alive after being gone for so many years? Also, why would she eat this apple from this creepy old lady she's never met and just believes her just because she mentioned her father and Jonathan? So much for that brave leader Snow White.
And she ain't the only character they messed up. They couldn't even get the evil queen right.
Out of all of the things they could have expanded on, it feels like they did jack shit with her. They don't give her a specific motivation on why she's evil or even where she comes from. And I just don't find her intimidating at all. She comes off as more of a bully rather than a menacing villain.
Pretty, isn't she? Find his home and burn it to the ground.
Go back to your well, Snow White.
If you want the throne, take it. What will you tell them? That you've made them dessert?
It doesn't help that Gal Gadot's acting comes off as bland, monotone, and hilarious.
I know her.
I think you mean new.
You dare to disobey me? Remove his coat and boots and bind him to the gates to freeze. Speak to your people!
She doesn't do anything herself that makes her a real threat. All she does is pretty much like the original. She orders Snow White to be unalived, then goes to do it herself in disguise. With all this extra background and details of her, she's still somehow less compelling than the 1937 one.
You know, I really don't remember you being this opinionated.
Even these magical bees,
Oh, f this. I'm just gonna call them dwarves. Don't blame me, that's what they are!
even though the dwarves are the best part of this movie, they still pale compared to the original. Where the dwarves had the humor, chemistry, heart, and slapstick, these guys aren't funny, their slapstick is too safe, and at some points come off as cringeworthy. Grumpy is still my favorite character overall, and is actually the only one who amuses me.
It's a human.
Yes, what did you think I was?
Nothing. Ghost. And I'm called Grumpy because I'm misunderstood.
The longer I stay here with you, the more danger I put you in.
At last. Goodbye.
Grumpy!
Yes, you can still tell who is who, but they lack this heart and synergy between them. Even Asha's group of friends from Wish, who are literally nothing but references to the Seven Dwarfs, even they stand out more than these guys. They just don't have a place in this story, therefore not enough attention is given to them. You know who truly doesn't have a place in this story? These fucking bandits led by Bland, not Prince Charming. Jonathan's addition in this remake is actually one I was open for, since the prince in the original didn't have a name and only had like a handful of lines. Giving the love interest more character isn't a bad idea, but of course, it's how it's executed that matters, and poorly executed it was.
Oh, I'm so sorry to disappoint. You must have mistaken me for a knight in shining armor.
Jonathan comes off as annoying, bland, and uninteresting. They try to make him charming and crack jokes to give him some life, except his humor just doesn't work.
My name's Jonathan, Princess. Not Jonathan, Princess. Just Jonathan.
Just like his romance with Snow White? I shit you not. I don't remember the last time I watched a movie and see two characters / actors have zero chemistry. Their interactions are not heartfelt or meaningful enough for them to fall in love. He's also just as dumb as Snow White. He's the leader of these bandits, but he gets captured like twice. God, these two suck at their jobs. Speaking of the bandits, they are all completely useless. They have very minimal dialogue, no character, and don't do anything relevant to the fucking plot. The movie constantly reminds you that they fight in the name of the king, but that's it.
Are you one of the bandits that gather in the forest stealing in the name of the king?
No, Your Majesty. I'm the boss.
You said that there were bandits in the forests who claimed to fight in the king's name?
Those rebels are nothing but thieves.
They're actually a band of erstwhile actors whose sustenance was made unstable by the Queen's greedy economic policies, which forced them into a liminal space where ethics and motives are ill-defined.
Everybody got that?
When production photos were shown and it was believed that the bandits were supposed to be the dwarves reimagined, that really ticked off a lot of people, and that's when the reshoots came in. But they still kept these bandits and didn't do shit to make them at least mean something. The only one that has the most attention is this guy, who only has like 6 lines and 3 of them are him saying who he is.
You're in the presence of the Rebel Quig, master of the crossbow. I am the Rebel Quig, master of the crossbow. I am the Rebel Quig, master of the crossbow.
I don't give a f who you are! Despite all these baffling issues, my biggest issue with the movie is that it fails to simply be a remake of the original film. I mean, the opening book part here with the animals pretty much sums up this whole movie. Unnecessary changes that don't feel justified. The changes made in this one don't line up with the stuff they copy from the original. For example, the Queen scolds Snow White for trying to be fair. She has a song where she frees Jonathan. The mirror tells the Queen that Snow White is fairest of them all. The Queen orders the huntsman to take her out and unalive her. What doesn't work is that Snow White isn't suspicious at all for why the Queen allowed her to go outside after years of being inside the kingdom until now. And again, she gets no idea why she's being unalived.
Why?
What a dumbass!
They're repeating the original, but they're not changing character to match the changes they made prior. What about when the Queen gives Snow White the apple to eat before she goes into sleeping death? It doesn't work here for some things. Like, why would Snow White believe this old hag to the point of eating an apple from her? Especially when she starts talking about Jonathan and her father. And again, this Snow White's meant to be more of a brave leader. So this just makes her as dumb as the original. Also, I cannot stress how many fucking times someone says fair in this movie.
Fair. Fair.
Fair.
Fair.
Fair.
Fair.
Speaking of fair, the magic mirror has been telling the Queen that she's the fairest for years. Until Snow White shows kindness by giving Jonathan some bread, and now she's more fair. You're telling me no one else in this kingdom did something fairer than this? How can the evil Queen be called fair after everything she's done to the kingdom? How is Snow White less fair than her all those years? There's little changes as well that I just personally don't like. Like, why do the dwarves have this power when it doesn't affect the story at all? What's the point of giving the evil queen sorcery when she doesn't do anything with it? Why make Dobby a sad mopey to sympathize with when his innocent, lovable idiocy was fine in the original? You could say it's so Snow White can relate to one of them, but why not do that for all of them?
Let her try.
Was that?
Dobby?
We're not afraid. Not anymore.
Bad touch! Bad touch! Stranger danger!
The endgame is just so underwhelming. Snow pretty much defeats the Queen by talking down to her, reminds some random people who they once were to turn on the Queen, who doesn't do anything and just storms off to the magic mirror. Also, they build up the dwarves coming in from the back to make it look like they're going to do something important, only to just appear and do jack shit. shit. Don't know what the point of that was. Then the mirror says, oh, inner beauty, Snow White is more fair. Queen smashes the mirror and dies. Snow White becomes queen and makes everyone wear white for some reason other than her last name being White. That's it.
Yeah. Shit. That's basically this movie.
Snow White is such a disastrous film, and quite possibly the worst Disney live-action remake yet. It tries to appeal to everyone and tries to play safe so hard, but it ends up connecting with no one. Outside of Zegler, the performances range from okay to awful, it's visually unappealing, the songs are boring, and the writing is just as pale as Snow White herself. The movie works best when it's copying the original, but that is not a compliment since the stuff they do copy are either half-assed or just okay. This movie just didn't know what the hell it wanted to be. It's at odds with being both a new reimagined version of Snow White and a straightforward remake of the original 1937 film. This movie is just all talking and less doing. It tells you who these people are meant to be, but they don't show you and let you think for yourself.
Like I said before, this remake had potential to expand on in terms of story and characters, but instead they turn it into this rebel rising girl boss movement over dramatic bore fest.
It's messy, it's bland, it's boring, and it's just not Snow White enough for me. And since this movie was such a flop, it's caused their future remakes to be put on hold. So at least this movie did something good. But then Lilo and Stitch grossed $1 billion 2 months later. And now Tangled is back in development while Moana comes out next year.
You motherfuckers, you wonder why they keep making this!